launch the non-named podcast in my own inimitable way. We've been thinking for 6 weeks what to call this thing.
And we've come up with all of the worst options.
So the subject is
music venues of New York,
music
really,
venues in New York,
and kind of all angles of that.
Yeah.
So by the end of this interview, I'm hoping you'll
maybe
find an answer for
us.
Yeah. Actually, we should ask every guest.
Yeah, what they think it should be named. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Put you on the spot.
Decide.
Yeah. Well, okay. Put me on the spot after the.
Okay.
Let me get into the groove a little
Let
bit.
the
Get into the groove.
Let the comms start working.
Hey, not only a great name, but a great Madonna song.
Like a virgin.
Okay. I want that one.
All right, listen, let's and cut. Welcome to 219 Central Avenue, First Life Coffee House. We're doing a weekly podcast series and live stream with music venue owners, with my co-host Sade. Hello, Sade.
Hello.
And we're into like episode 7, and we're really happy to have Jake from Pete's Candy Store. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great, and thank you so much for coming in. I have to start by doing some fawning. I think that's the word.
Singing his praises.
It is my favorite music venue in New York. It's official. I put it out there now.
Okay.
And I think that might even have something to do with you personally, because every time I go there as an audience person, I always see something fantastic, which must have something to do with booking. And every time I play there, first of all, you're always very, very good at saying yes.
Is that why it's your favorite?
Which is really,
I booked it.
nobody else has ever said yes. No, just kidding. But it's always it's always a great night when I play there, and I swear I don't say this to everyone. No, it really is one of my favorite venues, and I cannot recommend it enough for people that are visiting New York and Brooklyn. It's a unique, intimate, beautifully designed place, and always good quality. So with that being said, I do think that the booking, obviously I don't know whether you would call yourself the chief booker, head booker, or just booker.
I just say booker.
You're just the booker.
I like to keep it simple.
That's simple.
Yeah.
And
there's only one, so I can't really be the chief, because it doesn't imply that a chief
director of booking.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You can pretend. I'll just put you through to my executive booker. But I would love to pick your brain a little bit just to start with about you. I think you might have a secret source that maybe is responsible for such good acts playing. Do you have any insight as to what you think you might do a bit differently from everybody else?
Well, it starts with getting good music and then letting the musicians do what they want to do. If somebody wants to put together some crazy night of music, allow that to happen. If somebody's bass player wants to do some other set somewhere else, allow that to happen. So find those people that you really respect as musicians and as artists and are able to put together good music, and allow them to sort of be free to have some fun with the space.
Yep.
And when it comes to, Pete's Candy Store, you talked about keeping it kind of, within Brooklyn or within New York. Can you kind of tell me a little bit about that, like keeping it genuine, like your vision for the venue? Well,
I think just in terms of the size of the venue, it's a generally small room.
What is the capacity out of interest?
45 maybe,
something
really. It's like
a small club, 40 room capacity.
Yeah. If we get people sitting on the floor, we can increase it by maybe like 15 or 20, and it can get really packed in there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we do like to consider ourselves a local. We like to think of ourselves as a local music venue, because I think everybody at Pete's feels pretty strongly about like sort of fostering a creative musical scene, and not that we don't allow out-of-town bands or touring bands to come through. We definitely do allow it, but first and foremost, we want to cater to New York musicians. And it's like unlimited, the amount of music that is in this city.
Yeah,
it truly
definitely
is. I wake up in the morning and I look at my email and I have like 25 booking submissions, and most of them are from New York City based artists or bands or whatever. So, I mean, it's just crazy because I've been doing this for 11 or 12 years and was like, God, we must have had everybody at this point. There's everybody, but it just never stops.
Yeah.
It never stops. And
That's awesome for you guys.
It's awesome for us. It allows us to book 4 bands a night. And although we do get a whole lot of recurring acts, so we still have, I mean, because that amounts to like 120 or something bands a month. Probably about half of them have already played at Pete's, but we get a lot of new music too. Yeah. I mean, it blows my mind how many people come here to play music, whether their intent is to be professional musicians or whether it's just they also love to be in bands and stuff like that. Yeah. Who knows what it is? It's a combination, but it's pretty great. It's inspiring, I think.
Yeah, when it comes down to it and you have to discern between who to book and who not to book as a new artist, what do you consider? What are some of your factors?
Well, again, local. If you're local, that is already you've got to step in. You've got a foot in the door. I'm obviously going to check out your music. I obviously have my tastes and my preferences as to what I like. I don't always let that be the #1 discerning factor. If I say, oh, well, I don't like this kind of music, but it's good, I can tell that somebody has put a lot of time and they've really worked. And I know somebody's going to like that. It might not be me. I might go for that. If it's appropriate for the venue. If it's like a metal band, they're probably not going to play at Pete's. Or if it's like highly electronic, they're probably not going to play at Pete's. We try to go for like actual played like instruments. Yeah. I like having bands in there. We as much as possible, we try to not be too much of like a solo singer-songwriter venue, even though that's like almost what the venue wants to be because the stage is so perfect for that. Yeah. But if you get like a 4 or 5 piece band in there that is able to play the room and not blow it out, it's actually like one of the nicer sounding rooms I think in the city. It's hard to find a lot of bands that are able to do that because it requires like a whole lot of sensitivity to be able to do that. So when I ever find a band that can do that, I'm always like, oh yeah, I love it. You should play here every week, because it's perfect. And it's really just, it kind of tickles the ear as an audience member. It's just really nice to hear that because you rarely get to hear a group of musicians playing together at a volume level that is like perfect for that size room. It's usually like blown out. The sound person like cranks the volume.
And coming from a musician's point of view, having played at Pete's solo and with a band, it's definitely a skill to try and we probably played there 3 or 4 times, and the first couple of times it didn't work because we weren't used to trying to hone in to get the sound working for the room. My guitarist had his usual guitar amp, which was big for the space, and playing with, obviously you can't play drums with sticks really there. Or you have to get a really great sensitive drummer that knows how to control their volume. I mean, some can do it with sticks. A lot of people will do it with brushes, but it's like, that's a skill that you've had to learn how to do. And it's actually strangely a great opportunity to learn. That skill is very important, I think, for a band, to be able to play in any kind of environment. Yeah. And Pete's definitely teaches you to do that, for sure.
I've had a whole lot of situations where I hear a band that is clearly too loud for the venue, but I'm like, oh, I really like them. And then, I'll ask them like, okay, so this is really not the right venue for what you do, but would you be down to do some sort of like scaled down or acoustic version or some sort of quieter version of what you do? Yeah. And sometimes bands are like, no. But then other times bands kind of like accept the challenge and come and play. And oftentimes it works well.
That's great.
They're like, oh, we like that. And now we can do that.
Yeah. And so, just going back to Sade's question about trying to siphon through, filter through all these, all these submissions. It's kind of doesn't sound like it's possible for one person to do. I just wondering if you have like
no, I don't have any minions. It's all me. It's a little crazy. I guess when I get a submission, if I get a typical submission, say they already pass all the original, the base level tests, like they're from New York, they're a band and they sound like they're able to control their sound. I'll listen to one song, maybe 2 songs. I like when there's a YouTube video, but if it's a live video and I can't actually hear what they sound like, but I like to listen to it. And if I usually like give myself 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And if I'm sort of emotionally grabbed by the music, that's just like, boom, good. Okay, Cool, got it. I don't like to overanalyze something too much. I just like to just see if it just kind of hits me as a human, and then if it does, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you guys do anything where you kind of organize showcases, since you have this kind of like quick method? Do you ever have a strategy to like booking certain types of bands at a certain night, or is it kind of just go with it?
We try to actually avoid doing that. We try to have sometimes, you know, I mean, on Saturdays we have 7 bands sometimes, and we do as much as we can to have those bands have nothing to do with each other. That works from a perspective of a business, because you know each band is going to bring a different crowd in, and then we have lots of people in there. So I think that's one of those strategies that has allowed us to stay in business for 15 years. I mean, it's hard to be a bar. It's hard to be a music venue in New York City, and most of the ones, because I've lived here for 13 years now, most of the ones that were there when I first moved here are no longer here. And Pizza is one of the few that is still here. And I think that's one of the techniques that has worked for us, is to not be too all about like trying to create this bill of like-minded bands, because we have made that mistake a few times where, especially if we let one person put together the entire bill, sometimes it's great, but then other times it's a total bust, and like 15 people show up for the entire night. You know, and it's just, we have better luck of not like going into the red.
Yeah, like streamlining it into one.
Yeah, if it's like one band that doesn't do so well, that's okay. But if it's like the entire band, if it's the entire night, it's just, you know, next month we're out of business.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
And it's obviously what you're doing is working, because as we were talking about before, I mean, as you just mentioned, it was probably the first music venue of its kind in Williamsburg, and for it to stand the test of time, whilst all the others have opened afterwards and closed before, closed since, is really quite something. It's quite an achievement, especially in Williamsburg.
Yeah,
you know.
The owner has done a really, really wonderful job making Pete's out to be like a very community-based and almost like a bit of a little family. A lot of the bartenders have been there like longer than I've been there. And people just like to go there. It's like their little home away from home, you know. And we have a whole community of regular bar goers that go there, and then we have the music thing, and they're sort of separate, but not really. But I try to treat the music like that as well. Like I have my, you know, sort of core list of musicians that play there frequently, and I let them play all the time.
Right.
And then when bands play and they do well, the sound staff likes them, the bartenders like them, they brought a good crowd, everybody was happy, they're definitely coming back. I'm going to email them the next day and make sure that they have another gig a month and a half from now, 2 months from now. I might offer them a residency. I might see if they know any friends that also would be interested in playing. So it's that kind of thing. Just like find the positive, find the good stuff, and then just go for that. And then if, you know, again, because we're a free music venue, I can't in good conscience say to a band like, you have to bring this many people,
right?
Blah 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 blah. It's not fair to do that. But what I do is when I find a band that just naturally are the kind of band that people like and people want to come see, I just get them back. Yeah. So it kind of filters itself out sort of organically.
And is there a marketing strategy for you guys, seeing that free admission? You know, how do you keep people coming back? Do you guys do any sort of marketing, or just kind of leave it to
how do we keep
the bands, or leave it to
bands from coming back? How do we keep bands from coming back? How do we keep patrons from coming back? I think we just go by word of mouth. You know, we do a little bit of marketing, but I don't know how effective it is. I mean, we've done like, you know, those paid Facebook things, and we've put ads in the Village Voice and different publications of New York. And I don't know. And we do like weekly email lists or email blasts. And again, we just don't, there's no way to tell if those things are effective, because when we don't do them, it seems to go well as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, it's just a matter of like fostering this positive place, making a positive place.
Yeah.
I think that is going to work better than anything for this local venue thing that we're trying to do.
And its reputation just allows it to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the kind of place that everybody knows. I can go and watch free music any night of the week, and it's that great bar as well. It's I wouldn't have thought you would have needed to advertise, in fact, but because it's a small space as well.
Yeah.
But I guess every business should, at some level, promote. But I was going to go back to what we were talking about with bands, just again the booking side.
Yeah.
Seems like a relevant thing to talk about.
Yeah.
In terms of if a band wants to make sure they can, or an artist wants to make sure they can get a show, do you have any advice, I suppose, for artists that are submitting to you? Is there something that you have pet peeve, something you hate, something you love?
I think that probably every booker has this one same pet peeve, which is when they say like, I'm the love child of Tom Waits and Joni Mitchell, or like it's always Tom Waits and Joni Mitchell. Like somebody always thinks of themselves as a combination between the two. But I just never like that. But that's kind of
a pet peeve.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve. It's a pet peeve. But things to do. I mean, be nice. Yeah. It's in the end not that big of a deal.
Right.
It's not life or death. So just be nice.
Exactly.
Right. So there's that. Act like a human. I don't really like getting act like a human. Yeah, I don't really like getting emails from like a manager or like a scout or whatever, and they say, oh, so and so has gotten all of this radio play, and they've had their show, they've had their song like aired on this HBO show. None of that means anything to me. I'd rather get an email directly from the artist, and they just tell me who they are and what they're like, what they would like to do, and what would work best for them. Usually, if they're able to give specific dates, that kind of helps me out a little bit too.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And clearly accessible links. Quick link to a Bandcamp or a YouTube.
Exactly.
Is much better. Like, or with. Sometimes they'll send me like 6 MP3s that are embedded in the email. And,
right.
Oh, okay, I gotta see it. And I open it up, and then it just opens up iTunes, and I don't even know how to use iTunes. Like any of that stuff. I'm just like, because I get sometimes over 100 of these a day. Not just booking submissions, but all of this stuff. Like when people send me their little web blurb and their picture, it adds up. It can be quite time consuming. So make it very convenient. Make the text not too much information. Be concise, be nice, simple. Give me your links. Be cool.
Great.
Yeah.
See, it sounds easy, folks.
Taking notes, yeah. Are you taking notes?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, but I think, wouldn't that work in any context?
You would think so.
I mean, if you apply that line of thinking to not even just music, I mean, that might help.
To most things, I would think.
Especially
the be nice part, I think, is usually helpful.
I would say so. Works for me. I like it when people are nice to me, so I try to be nice to other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it works. I think it's a tried and true tactic.
Yeah. So I did also want to read a small excerpt from A Guide to Live Music Venues.
Yes.
First Live, which is like why we're basically in this space, in this awesome coffee house, interviewing venue owners. But a little bit of what you already touched on. The music style at Pete's Candy Store has been consistently wide open to anything that musically fits the small space, which is perfectly suited for singers-songwriters, alternative and anti-folk musicians, and experimental performers, as well as haven for side projects or bigger rock bands. And you've actually had some awesome people, project their career after, being at Pete's Candy Store, like Nora Jones. I think that's awesome. That's so cool to hear. And I did read, experimental performers. How does that fit in this space? I just was wondering if you have any memorable moments or anything.
What do you mean experimental? Like,
yeah, it's
like musical.
Yeah, like music-wise.
Oh, music-wise. Oh man, we had this one guy. I loved him. I think his name. He went by Octant. Was his band name, and he was like a one-man band, and he built all these crazy instruments that it was controlled by a computer, but it was like one instrument, you know, a blast of air would get sent out on command by the computer and cause it to make a whistle, and you know, little things would hit drums, and you know, I gave him the early slot because I think he had to show up like 3 hours early to set up all this stuff. And,
Oh my God.
yeah, it was just wires everywhere. I was like, ooh, maybe this was a mistake. I mean, but it was really cool and yeah, very experimental.
So awesome.
It's really good when people know the space. Sometimes I think I'll get emails from people that want to do a show and don't quite understand like what the space is all about. And then I sometimes have to say, I think you need to go here. I think you need to come here and just check it out and make sure it's going to work with what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a couple people that want to like do like a dance thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you can do a dance thing, but just check it out before you come and do a dance thing. We had one person that was trying to do all this barefoot stuff. I was like, oh no, there's like broken strings on the ground, and I don't want you to pierce your foot.
Yeah. So that has as experimental as it got. You could say some dance performances.
Oh God,
computer rigged.
That I can remember. I'm sure there's things that have happened that are like 10 times crazier than that I can't remember, because again, the volume is just, it's ridiculous, the amount of music that comes through. But that's what I can think of right now.
Yeah, that sounds pretty epic, honestly. I don't think we've had many people say something as crazy as that. Whistleblowing smoke computers.
No, it was amazing. It was totally crazy.
So do you ever feel limited by the space at all besides sound-wise? I noticed you mentioned maybe there's like some strings on the floor, but do you think there's anything else that would limit performers?
Something that would limit performers?
Besides space, or do you think you guys can kind of cater to, if you knew in advance what they're trying to do, you can kind of work around it?
Well, the big limitation, I think, is that we don't have a piano. I would really like to have a nice piano. Because if we had a nice piano, that will bring in a whole different sort of scene of musicians and a whole bunch of different options for the kind of music and that you can have. But we've thought about all sorts of different ways that we could put a piano. It's not going to work. You know, we'll never have a piano, unfortunately, because we would have to change the whole structure of the building.
Gotcha.
Right.
But
and nothing's in the offing in terms of the future for Pete's, right? No immediate changes. You can give us a sneak preview on.
No, hopefully.
It's like, there is a piano.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be the exact same. 20 years.
No, absolutely.
From now.
Yeah, I hope so too.
In
fact, I just wish there was another one somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
He's obsessed.
Yeah, I got to stop it. I just would love to hear a bit about how you got into the booking and you started at Peaks like 11 years ago, you said?
Something like that. I've lost track.
Yeah,
I'd have to find out exactly when I started working there, but I'm a bassist. I have a whole other facet of my life as a professional like touring musician. I'm gone at least half the year on the road. But when I first moved to New York, when I was a little baby, when I moved to New York, that was like 2003. My first job was at Mikey's Hookup in Williamsburg, back when it was on North 5th and Bedford in a little mini mall.
Yep.
And we did computer repair. And the owner of Pete's came in because he needed some computer repair done. And I was not the computer repair guy. I was just the retail guy that sold cables.
Yeah.
And our repair guy was off doing a job, and I asked him what the issue was, and he told me what the problem was. And I was like, oh, I think I might be able to fix that. And so I went and did sort of a house call at Pete's, fixed his computer. I had a CD of my band at the same time, and I gave it to him. I was like, I think I'd like to play here as well. And so my band played there, and it ended up being a really great show, and it was totally packed. And just maybe about 9 months later, I got an email from the owner and was like, hey, would you be interested in booking here? And I was like, what? Are you sure you got the right guy? I mean, I've never done anything like this. Like, why me? I have no idea. It just makes, I wouldn't even know how to do any of this. But of course, yes, I'll do it. And
that's awesome.
I think what he saw in me was that I have some sort of finger on the pulse. I don't know, maybe this one. It's a small one. It's never maybe my little toe. Yeah,
I'm sure it's grown over the years.
And am a musician and am generally pretty organized and definitely like very tech savvy, which is really important because if you're not, you're going to double book yourself about 1,000 times, and you're going to miss slots and all those stuff. So it is important to at least have a grasp of technology and not let it overtake you. So I had all those things, and he was like, I just think I guess you have all those qualities that would be good for a booker. And it was a rough spell in the beginning because I had to figure out the rules. I didn't know how to do it. It was steep, but now that I've been doing it for long enough, and I've kind of created my own system and have my own like set of tools and shortcuts that I use to like make sure that I'm doing everything that I need to do. It seems to go pretty seamlessly. And like I was telling you earlier, I started booking a second venue in Bushwick, this place, Pine Box Rock Shop. Yes. And that has been a little bit easier because I've been able to take my existing tools that I already have and just kind of apply it to that and not have to like figure out brand new things. Of course, every venue has its own set of quirks and what it is. Yeah. So that is a learning curve, but at least I don't have to learn, how to send the right confirmation emails and all of those things. I've figured that out. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. And are you able to work on the road, or do you kind of hand it off when you?
No, I'm on the road all the time.
Yeah.
I'm on the road all the time. Huh. I do my work on the road all the time, should I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you figured out a cool little lifestyle.
Yeah, some sort of schedule.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of the whole booking thing is knowing how to schedule. So
right.
Then you'll do it for your own life and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I like to just get up in the morning and just do everything that I need to do.
Yeah.
And then you do that, and then by 2 p.m. you already have like 50 emails, and then so you have to get back in there and kind of clear it out and do all that, and maybe one more time in the evening.
So when you're on the road, how often do you get to look at it? Is it just once a day that you're getting to look at all the booking stuff, or you try to do it in between? Because I feel like on the road, at least when you're like in this thing, you need to try and like actually perform, and you've got a few dates. How's that working? Because I personally would be like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like, I need help. I need an assistant to do this.
Well, it's like shouting at the singer saying, "You've got to get off stage. I've got to take care of these bookings."
Well, that's why I like to do it in the morning. I mean, I get up before everybody else does, and I do all that stuff. And then if I'm sitting in the van or the bus or even in the airport, I can like whip out a few before I go. So, as long as I'm able to actually get on the internet, which is so much easier now than it's ever been. When I was first doing this in 2004, it was a lot more difficult.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Like dial-up modems, like no.
Yeah. It used to be like, okay, I'm
like
going.
Unhook someone's telephone.
Yeah. I used to have to like make sure that I was booked like 3 months out.
Wow.
But now, I mean, I still like to be 3 months out, but it's hard to be 3 months out.
Yeah.
But now it's just so much easier to like be on the internet anywhere. So it kind of doesn't matter where I am.
Yeah.
So
that's nice on your end.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I mean, back to that. I mean, I guess maybe it's because I'm older now than I was when I first started doing that. But yeah, like I like getting up in the morning now. And like being a productive guy, so it's just easier than it used to be, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fantastic. You found yourself a nice little lifestyle.
System.
Yeah, I suppose so. It found me. I mean, I didn't set out to get into this.
Sure.
And
it's just worked out so well.
It just worked out, and I like it. Yeah. I like being a part of the New York music scene and like helping out my friends and everybody else. So
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming in to talk to us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Some coffee.
Yeah.
It was a great insight into bookings. We haven't really looked at that so much, so that was really great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And come and see us again for a coffee.
You bet. Yeah.
Cool.
It's working.
Yeah, it is working.
Awesome. We're gonna carry on with our song pick of the week. Strada, you want to introduce that?
Errol Benjamin's Love and Hate, which will be queuing up soon.
Do that.
From a cool neo-soul artist.
Come back. That's cool.
Yeah.
We're off there and we'll
that was
back
fun.
Thank you so much. That really genuinely was great. Yeah. Thank you. It was,
I know we got a lot of good insight into booking this time.
Good.
I don't think we have had that.
Right, exactly.
So, who else have you interviewed?
So many. We had Living Gallery, City
City
Winery.
Oh God, I would have loved to see that.
K-Shop,
Palisades,
Palisades,
and
SOBs.
Paper Box.
No, that's the last one. Paper Box.
And now, please.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the City Winery one because
Yeah.
they're like
That was good.
multi-city.
Yeah. We touched on that definitely.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're like looking into opening two more establishments, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they're keeping busy.
Man, I think I played every one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which one do I like the best? I think the Nashville one. Nashville's
Oh,
awesome.
I forgot to ask your band. What was
Well, for those, I play with Kate Pearson from the B-52s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so
That's great.
she's all into the City Winery, so we
awesome.
play there. And then I also play with Lee Fields and the Expressions, which is like one of the Daptone soul bands.
Cool.
So those two are two big ones. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Tell
Cool.
Neil and Gabe.
Oh, you know them?
Yeah. I used to work. Used to book Baby Jupiter before the Daptones.
Again, did you get to
Yeah.
Did you actually get to sample the song?
I used to book him.
Okay, so I was gonna ask you what you thought of it, but it's more like a R&B bluesy folk song.
Yeah.
Sugarman 3.
Sugarman 3. Do you know Lee at all? Because Lee was involved with the Sugarman 3 back in the day. But then like Lee, they formed like their own record label called Truth and Soul, and they kind of went separate from Daptone.
I think.
I mean, you could be elitist with music sometimes. Remember what time was it? Like, I don't know about this.
Started doing more sound work. So, but I know those guys well. I've seen them every now and again. But tell them I said hello.
I will.
And ask them to send some bands this way. It'd be great to get some of that.
Totally.
The Daptones promotion.
Yeah, there's a bunch of new little young whippersnappers kind of in that scene that are kicking
send them our way.
ass.
It'd be great. I'd love to
Yeah.
have them.
Yeah. There's this guy Max. I don't remember his last name, but he's like the new guitar sub for Charles Bradley and for Lee. And I don't think he's on Sharon yet, but and he's like 21, and he kicks so much ass. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Where's he from?
I don't know. I think he went to I think he went to NYU or something like that, and then just got out of school and just basically came knocking at the door of Daptone. Like that's how he got in on the scene. And he's just a driven kid.
Oh,
There's a few there's a couple of horn guys that are younger and kind of doing their own form of soul music, and it's cool.
I love that
Yeah.
music. I love it. I love it.
Sorry, we should carry on with our second segment.
Oh, yeah,
Feel free
yeah,
to hang
yeah.
out
Yeah.
in the back if you like and have some more coffee if you want to.
I guess I should give you
Yeah,
back
we'll,
this.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
should probably take the mic.
And we'll send you the link, and once we've got the podcast done, we'll send you that too.
Yes.
You can have a listen to all of them.
So the link is the link just staying up, or was that the live stream and that was that?
The live stream will stay up, and then I'll probably edit that as well.
Okay.
But that's not really being promoted at the moment. So.
Yeah.
But it was
I might post a link to it on Facebook or something.
cool,
like
man.
that.
Yeah. And I'll definitely send you the podcast, and it'll be great.
Good stuff.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to meet you.
You too.
And thanks also for the great work you do.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, come in. You like my pie? There you go.
Hell yeah.
Another?
Just quite
trying
British.
My fifth of the day.
He's
quite like
not, but he
this.
worked with a British producer
Right.
with Beyonce on a song, so that's how he started to get a little.
Yeah.
I like Emily.
Is that still recording?
Actually, I just got to
Yeah, we have great coffee. Great coffee.
I'll read something about pianos as well
Cool.
for the next.
Great,
segment.
great, yeah. All right.
Yeah, but I'm basically saying what's in this email, so it's not like and then ask you if you like it.
I do quite like it. What I can hear.
Yeah.
Danny, it's still capturing, right? It's still capturing, isn't it? We'll just carry on.
Is this?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you have yours. I was like, who's not wearing
You've
this?
got yours on, right?
Yeah, I got mine on. Okay. Make sure this is. I'll turn this one off then, just so it doesn't do anything weird, noise-wise.
Good thinking.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do any like weird reverb type stuff.
That is cool. Awesome, great. That's a cool sounding track, actually.
Yeah, Yeah, I like it because I feel like what kind of stuck out is Arrow Benjamin, that's the artist, his voice. It kind of has this nice like robustness to it, and
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
floats well over the kind of bluesy folk vibe.
Nice
And it's kind of
production.
blended in with, you know, some neo soul. So I thought it was pretty cool. Something to shake it up a little bit for one of our shows.
Yeah, exactly. And I was seeing he's doing very well in the UK at the moment.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
seems to be fine. So that's cool.
Yeah, he's actually got, you know, he's rising in ranks, but he's actually got a pretty good team behind him with like Island Records.
Right.
You know, he's had a song actually featured with Beyonce, which happened in 2015, which is kind of giving him a little more cred. So I've got a few numbers to point out to you, but 135 million YouTube views
That's
on
insane.
that track, which is called Redden.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'm like, that's pretty crazy. And I mean, you can just hear by his voice, I feel like he's a rising star, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Nice choice, actually. And speaking
actually, because all of mine are right.
You know, I'm very fussy.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of Island Records,
yes,
I believe you went to some kind of Island Records party this week.
I did. I ventured down to LES to Pianos.
Pianos.
Which, I mean, I love Pianos. Such a great venue. And Island Records decided to host a debut party for Sun Drones, which is a new band they formed in January of 2016. So super new. So they're holding just like this like debut party for them. They played a few tracks. And I really enjoyed it. So Sun Drones, I guess I describe them as an emo surfer rock band, if that makes sense. So they've kind of got this like literally like droniness, beachy sound to their music, but it comes off with this like emo aesthetic almost. And they were really great at commanding the stage in their pianos. The back room was full to capacity. Like
that's good to hear, because I've been a couple of times recently to Pianos and it's not been slammed, but I guess a night like that.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a great band.
They almost didn't let me in because I got there a little late. And until I was like, okay, I really need to see this show. Can I please come in? They're like, back capacity. I'm like, please. And they're like, are you on a list? I'm like, Island Records list. And they're like, okay, fine, go in. And then I got like the last spot, which was literally on the other side of the door. I've never been to Pianos where it's been that packed. So and the band made a great impression. The crowd loved it. The lead singer jumped off the stage, so they really brought it that night.
Let's have a quick look at some footage you took, actually.
Definitely.
Of them. This is the... Seamless.
What, my footage? For what? I was like,
no, it was actually it actually Pianos looks really impressive there.
Seriously, shot an iPhone 6, everybody.
Yeah.
But
you've got a future career in photography, I tell you.
Yeah, I'll try another side project. But definitely, I mean, you can even see from that footage, they, set up a really great show, even if it was just, a few tracks.
Absolutely. So was this a band that you've been following, or you heard about the Island Records thing?
I heard about the Island Records thing from a publicist since that, they were newly formed, and that was, I guess, their first performance with the label. So, I mean, since then, I've kind of, checked in every so often, see what they're doing. But for right now, that's basically, I think they're working on some more music for right now, and we'll have to see what happens, what comes from them. Yeah. But
so the Pianos in general, I mean, there's a sort of backstory. It's been around for a long while on the Lower East Side, one of the first, and it's
I think we got some facts on it.
Yeah,
a
little bit
see.
from the first live music venue guidebook.
Yes.
Look at that.
Which is the reason why we're here, a guide to live music venues. Of course, Pianos is in here because it's like awesome. But what I wanted to point out is that they said the living room is the driving force at Pianos. It has its own pint-sized bar for the ardent music aficionados who don't want to miss a beat. Multiple bands play nightly, ranging from indie rock to singer-songwriter. And in another paragraph, it literally says, Pianos has never attached itself to certain music genres, which I think is what also makes it so great.
Exactly.
Because on any night, you could go into the back room and there could be an indie rock show, and then you go upstairs and someone could be performing neo soul. So you really can like float around even in that tight, small space that only fits 150 people.
150?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a bit more.
And they've got a few bars in there.
Right.
There's about, I think, 3 of them.
Yes, exactly.
You count it because you first walk in, it's the general bar.
Yeah.
and there's a DJ in there. You need to
Right.
point that out. DJ to the right. You go in the back room. There's a bar. You know, that's where they have, I guess, bands you need to pay for, or you're on the list. And then there's upstairs, which is another bar and performance.
I'm trying to remember upstairs, but that's is that?
I don't go upstairs as often. I mainly go straight to the back room.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely still a cool spot. One of the main marks of New York, Lower East Side.
Yeah, and I feel like they always have quite a few different events there. Like that was that debut party when CMJ is going on. They always have a ton of showcases throughout.
Absolutely.
And some really great residencies. I've seen a ton of bands there, so
cool.
It was really cool to see Sun Drones.
And you had a fun night that night?
I did. I also invited one of my friends who's a huge music aficionado, and she has never really experienced like an emo surf rock thing. So I even asked her, like, what did you think? What did you think of this experience? She's like, no, she's like, it was awesome. She actually got there before me, so she was like super tight up in the front, and she's like, yeah, the lead singer jumped off the stage right next to me, and she's like, he was, really having a great time. So she like super enjoyed it.
And so piano, it sounds like you've been to pianos more on a few occasions. Why do you think that you end up going there as opposed to some other venues? Just as a sort of general question, it's hard, I know, because I always end up going to a couple of venues over there and like pianos. It's one of those.
I think for me, I really like breakthrough artists, not so much unknown, but a little more breakthrough. So maybe you can find their music it's actually on Spotify, or they're slowly rising in coverage in some of the local magazines or something like that. I always like to track some people who are somewhat already on the radar, and pianos has been really good at picking them up. So I've seen
what it is, right? And it's that kind of size, 100 to 200 capacity, where you get to see emerging, if not emerged, artists.
emerged.
And you still get to have like kind of intimate, close enough experience. So
exactly.
That's what pianos does well.
Yeah, that's what I love and thrive on.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, do you go to pianos often? Or I know we just praised Pete's Candy Store. I know that's your place, but do you find yourself at pianos often, or is it?
I've played there a couple of times, and
wait, pause. What was that like for you? And which room were you in? The back room?
The back room, and I'm trying to. The reason I was doing a confused face before, I was trying to remember whether the living room used to have an upstairs on the Lower East Side, and pianos does as well. And I think I confused the rooms. So I don't know is the answer to that question. But it's a cool place to play. Lately, it's become a little bit more expensive, just because it has to be.
And maybe because of like what I said, they're getting people who are a little more on the radar when it comes to breakthrough, which might people with labels and
exactly. And the Lower East Side in general has kind of changed on a venue front considerably. You find more venues that need to put in the bigger crowds and might have like a a theme night or
like a showcase type theme,
but in general, no, it's still a cool venue, and one of the staples, as I say, of New York. So I'd recommend tourists to visit it for sure.
Yeah, definitely a great space, and I feel like whatever you pay, it'll be worth it. And the drinks are they're pretty cheap.
Affordable.
Yeah, affordable. I'll say pretty cheap, affordable.
Yeah, if that's possible in New York. I'm not quite sure. Cool, that's awesome. Well, let's wrap it up, and thanks very much for that insight into pianos.
Yes.
And we had a great chat with Jake from Pete's Candy Store today.
Yeah, a lot of booking insight.
Exactly. And that wraps it up for this episode here at First Live Studio. This is just to let everyone know, we're live streaming every week, and this will be a podcast from First Live Coffee House 219 Central Avenue.
Yes.
So you can check that out and like us on First Live Coffee House on Facebook.
Yep. I think that's all of them.
That's it, right?
That's all the socials we got for now.
That's great. All right, we'll see you again with another venue or two.
Yeah. Working on it. Bye.
Bye.
That was fun.
Yay.